Hello everybody and welcome to a new video on the FM Scout YouTube channel. Today I'm going to bring you a very special video, something that I've talked about once before, but I feel like there's a lot of people who want to know how I do so well on lower league management. So if you don't know who I am, obviously I'm Jamie. I'm the Twitch streamer for FM Scout. Been streaming there for 5 years. We always do lower league saves in England. We always start off, we've done White Up, we've took them to the Champions League final, we've done Blythe, we've done FC United, the list goes on. And I get a lot of questions on how do I do it, how do I do it so quick in terms of rising up the leagues. So I'm going to go through a few tips with you and kind of give you the most important thing. I mean, there's some stuff in this list that I'm going to go through with you that is, you know, hopefully you didn't know about it and it might just help you along the way. It's nothing cheaty or anything like that. Everything like this is in the game, and you know, there's just some features that you may not know about that you can do. So it's going to be separated into about 7 or 8 different topics. So we're going to go through the tactics that I start with when I'm doing lower league saves and some do's and don'ts. We're then going to go on to the scouts, very, very important, and I'll go through why. We're then going to go on to the director of football, again, very important. The training, the scouting, team reports, becoming a selling club, and man management. So that's the list of what we're going to go through in today's episode. Hopefully you do enjoy it and you kind of learn something from this as well. If you are quite new to FM and you do want to take your beloved team from the lower leagues to the Premier League, so let's get right into it. So the first thing is tactics, and tactics aren't that actually they're not that important in the lower leagues. The main thing is we're going to start this as Dulwich Hamlet just because that's what I'm doing in my Twitch save. I don't want to go into it too much, so I'm not starting my lower league save until the 2nd of November, which will be live streamed on Twitch. So the first thing you want to do before you go any further into the days on the save, you want to have a look at what roles your players play. So for example, we've got say 2 strikers here. We're going to see what roles they play. So we've got a pressing forward and a target man. Okay, J May is a target man. So this team is very target man orientated. We've got Gavin Tomlin as well, who can play pressing forward and a target man. So, you know, the thing is, you don't want to change the team too much. You haven't got the money to do it. As an example, starting with Dulwich Hamlet, you've got around, let's have a look at the finances. So you've got a 2k transfer budget. You're not going to do anything with that. And you know, the wage, you got 500 odd quid left, 700 quid left in the wages. So you can't mess around with the team too much. You've kind of got to go with what you've got. And eventually, you know, the contracts will run out. So usually they're only like year contracts. As you can see, all of these contracts ends next year. So I can then build a team from the 2nd season into a formation that I want to play. So looking at these, I mean, I'm not going to go through the tactics too much, but you can see, like wingers, you've got central midfielders. So go with the roles that suit the players. Don't try and do anything too crazy. But in terms of the actual tactics, you know, just go. I've seen a lot of people just go like that. So you can just go a standard 4-4-2. You can push the wingers up if I've got wingers who play on that side. I'd always suggest kind of playing a DM as well, so you can go like this. That's a very strong formation for the lower leagues. A DM is great. He just sits in front of the centre backs, so it will stop you conceding loads. But the main thing about tactics is you don't want to overcomplicate things. So in terms of focus, let's say work ball into the box. You've got a lot of players who's not very good at passing. You're going to lose possession and they're going to go on the counter and you're probably going to concede. In terms of be more expressive, you know, that's like your creative play. So players with, you're in the lower leagues, so players like that won't be able to be that expressive. So that obviously requires vision and stuff like that. If you've got a player who's playing in the middle on be more expressive and has got a vision of 2, it's just not going to work. In terms of overlapping, stuff like this is fine. But in terms of more specific stuff, like passing to space, as an example, if you've got really bad passes of the ball, they're not going to be able to pass that ball and they're going to lose possession. Attacking whips and stuff, this is completely up to you how you do it. There's no right or wrong. Well, there is a wrong if you play stuff like passing to space. It can work if you've got good passes of the ball. But if you haven't got good passes of the ball, it's just a bit of common sense, really. Going on to in transition. So, again, these are the new stuff that I haven't really delved much into. In terms of distribute to fullbacks, if your fullbacks are terrible, your weakest point in your team, don't distribute to your fullbacks, distribute to your centre backs if you want to focus on the goalkeepers. In terms of out of possession, use tighter marking is very, it's a good thing, but use tighter marking obviously will lead the players to go around one guy and they'll probably counter you and it'll just make it difficult. So I tend to avoid that. If I was to start a save right now, to give you an idea, I probably wouldn't use any of the pass into space. I wouldn't use run at defence. I wouldn't use be more expressive. I'd keep the crosses on mixed. You know, Italy crosses and shoot on sight are fine. These ones are fine. Play out defence. If you've got really bad centre backs, be careful about playing out defence. So again, it's just common sense. You know the players aren't very good. Use a tactic and instructions. So again, you don't need to use hardly any. I probably use 2 instructions when I'm using a lower league save. The players will do the job if they've got the right roles, and that is really it about tactics. You know, just don't overcomplicate things. It's an easy tip, but it's just common sense really. Obviously, many of you will know this, but if you didn't, if you're going into the lower league saves and you're playing, you know, work ball into box, that can work. I do tend to use that at times. Run at defence, I wouldn't suggest using it, but again, it all just depends on the person who's playing the game. But I'm just giving you my tips of what I've been successful with in lower league saves. And that is it for the tactics. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is responsibilities. So in terms of the lower leagues, you don't need to handle as much things as you think you do. So in terms of let's start with the overall. So staff recruitment, you want to get rid of that. You don't want your chairman doing anything. I mean, have that all yourself, because otherwise he's going to spend money on 123's staff. You just don't need to spend the money. The main thing is saving as much money as possible. Okay, so get yourself all on the staff recruitment. I mean, you might already be set on that as well. In terms of transfers, again, you don't want anything related to transfers. Usually it would be set as yourself, but if you don't take the induction, it puts the chairman as it for some strange reason. So yeah, what we're going to do, we're just going to make sure all these are set. So in terms of handle new signing contract negotiations for players in your youth team, we'll leave that to the head of youth, because that kind of contracts aren't very expensive. To finalise first team signings, that's us. Again, this one for finalised signing for young players in the future, my head of youth can do that. Transfers outgoing, we'll deal with that. As long as you're dealing with all the contracts and stuff, decide which first team players' contracts to extend, that's us. Let's have a look at these. That's us, that's fine. Training, make sure your assistant's set to training. So about everything else set to yourself. Obviously you're head of youth for the youth players, which is fine. Going on to this part, I always let my assistant do my tactical briefings. I don't do that. Obviously you can decide if you want to play friendlies and stuff. Opposition instructions is always the assistant manager. Obviously if you like doing that kind of stuff, you know, it's good. But I just let my assistant do them, because yeah, it's just work for me and I'm not going to change it. That's the thing. So we're going to confirm them. They're the responsibilities you want to do. Okay, we're going to move on to scouting. So how do I find my players when I'm playing FM19 in lower leagues? So if you want to buy free, obviously you're going to have to rely a lot on free transfers. So I have filters available for you to download. I will put the link to the video in the description below. We have gone over the filters, but these are basically my filters right here. It's more ease of access, which I explained in the video. So if we're looking for, let's just say, a central defender on defend in the lower leagues, we probably want to put contracts expiry date as well. So this will go to the bottom. Contract status expired. Yep, that's fine. So press OK. Obviously, it's not going to give you many players at 13. So what you want to do is just bring it down slightly, and you'll start getting a list. You can go as low down as 5 or 6 really, and then drop some scouts in. So you can see these are all the best players available to us based on them stats we've just put in. So, you know, there's actually some really good players in here. You've got Brian Sarr just there. Obviously, you need to scout them to get a full list of potential and stuff. George Brady doesn't look too bad previously, Bromley. But yeah, that's a great way of finding players, and that's how I find my players. Obviously, when you go up the leagues, more foreign players and stuff will come into it. But there's some really good players. Obviously, you might struggle with work permits on some, but a guy who came there from Brighton, you would have to actually scout them. That's the main thing. If you want to go a little bit higher, let's say 8. So you've got 2 players here at 8. You've got Charles Charlesworth, who used to play for Forest. This guy is right here. Going back, you've got Callum Ellerslie. So now these guys, I imagine, would do the job. He was previously at Tottenham. They might have some potential as well, but they are wanted by other National League sides as well. So that's how I find my players. Obviously, it depends on what roles and stuff you want to look for. So the filters are available to download as well. Another very important thing I do when I'm looking for players is use my director of football. So to do this, you have to actually go to the transfer center, use your director, and then press suggest transfer targets. This is, I can't stress enough, like 9 times out of 10 it will get, well, let's say half and half, it will give you some bad players, but it's your job to scout the players. So if we're looking for a free transfer, centre back, and then central defender suggest, it will give you a list of players. So what I tend to do actually is, depending on what roles I'm playing, so if I'm playing a goalkeeper, I will go free transfer goalkeeper. We've done the centre back, so let's say we're looking for a left back, right back, and we're playing full back, let's say that. So let's do this. That's what I'd basically do for my whole team, and just scout. That's as simple as that, really. And, you know, it will give you some good players. I mean, I haven't looked at these too much because I haven't started a low league save yet, but it will give you some very, very good players. So Tom Jonkerman looks pretty decent previously at Cirencester. No idea who they are. You've got Brandon Barsley. So there is some players, and like I say, not all of them will be great, but you will find some good players through that, and I've found some really, really good players before. So that is a really good tip in terms of transfers via your director and using the filters. So just a few general tips now as well. So one of the main thing is I always become a selling club when I'm doing low league save. So if someone wants to leave and he's my best player and someone's giving me £100,000 for him, even £50,000, I will sell that player. I can't stress enough how important it is to keep your finances as high as possible and just don't waste money. So, you know, if I was doing this team now, I notice I've got no loans, and I can get 6 long-term loans in. So I will try and sell 6 players just to get them off my wage bill and use loans all the way up to the Premier League. That's what I tend to do when I'm doing low league saves, because as it stands, I've got 2 guys who probably are my best players and I'll probably keep. But, you know, you've got a 3-star guy here who's got a bit of potential. But maybe this guy, Ashley Carew, is on £500 a week. I will try and sell them. Obviously, next season, it's easier to do a save from the season after. You can now choose, like, as an example, you can choose now, get players on a new contract. If they are very good, like Nyron Clunis and Anthony Cook, I would probably get as well with Mangus. And let's be honest, let's just do this by ability. So if I was doing a save right now, the first thing I would be doing is offering all of them a new contract, ready for next season, because they look good enough for the next league. And you don't want to go into a season with no players, with all their contracts expiring. I know it's going to cost you a little bit of money now, but in the long run, next season, all of these players will be off your transfer list, off your club. And, you know, you can focus. There's a lot of money to be saved. And you can just bring some loans in to fill in the gaps, which will come on to scout reports in a second. So going on to man management as well, another very important thing is to rotate your players. The AI doesn't recognise when the fitness is low on their players, and they will still play their best team even if they've got a 60% fitness. Whether that's changing FM19, I haven't tested it, but yeah, that's one of the main things. Always try and rotate. If you've got a player, I never play a player below 90%. If a player is 90%, I'm still a bit wary of playing him. But if he is 88%, I will swap him out for somebody else. I always try and get 2 players only of each position. So if I'm playing a fullback, left back, I'll have 2 left backs in the team. If I've got a right back, you don't need to have 3 right backs. Just have 2 right backs. That's all you need. If something goes wrong, then you can blame me. But it usually works for me, and I have 2 right backs, 2 left backs. If I'm playing 2 centre backs, I have 4 centre backs. If I'm playing 2 midfielders, I have obviously 4 midfielders. It's just having 1 extra player for them positions, and you can fill a lot of them with loans as well. So yeah, in terms of man management as well, there's a little tip which you can go on to. So if you notice your morale's a little bit low, so you can see this guy is quite good here. If we click him, actually no, let's right click him, and let's go to, let's go to Magnus, and let's press speak about. You want to praise a player and praise his conduct. It's an easy win. They will never be annoyed about it. So just put it's commendable to see. Always press the top one. And, you know, he's gone to really good now. You can do that with all of your first team. And so, as an example, if we quick pick right now, before a big game or whatever, I would go into that, speak about, praise player, praise conduct. It's gone from extremely good. He stays at extremely good because that's quite high. But in terms of someone like M. Chambers, if I go to speak about, praise player, praise conduct, is it good at the moment? It's now gone to really good. It's just a little tip about raising your morale. If your morale's not very good, you're going to struggle. It's as simple as that. So it's always trying to keep the morale as high as possible. And that is really about it in terms of man management. Obviously, always try and praise them during training as well. It's an important thing. We've touched on training a little bit. Honestly, you don't even need to go into that tab. I wouldn't even bother going into it if I can find it. See, this is what I'm saying when I don't use training. So your assistant manager's doing it. You don't need to worry about it. You know, there's nothing to worry about. you haven't got the coaches to be messing around with it. You don't really want to mentor anyone at this stage because, let's be honest, you haven't really got the potential in players. Only when you start rising up the leagues and bringing a big staff team in, you can then decide to do the training. So that is that in terms of training. And the main one, which I can't, honestly, this is the best tip I can give you guys. And we're actually going to do it right now. Okay guys, this is the biggest tip I can give you, and I absolutely swear by this. Every time I play this game, I will always do this. So what you want to do, obviously if you're, like I say, starting in the low leagues, if you're watching this video, you probably do. As you can see, fill the loans as much as you can. So if you are unsure how many loans you can have, just go to the National League South, go to rules, and you will see, if I can find it, loan rules. So a maximum of 8, let's go, maximum of 6 players allowed on long-term loans. So all you can do is sign 6 long-term loan players. In terms of the match, I'm not sure if you can actually use all of them. You might be able to, I can't remember. But you can get 6 long-term loans. So it's about using them loans. Very, very important. So if we just have a quick look through the team now, and if we was to go to, let's do this first actually. Let's go to tactics. So goalkeeper-wise, who's the best goalkeeper we've got? Preston Edwards. The best fullback we've got, Sanchez Ming, not great. So we're going to be looking for a fullback on loan. Centre-backs, we've got Magnus and we've got Chambers, which are 2 pretty good centre-backs. We haven't really got a good backup there, as you can see. We've got Quaid and Daniel. So this is the first thing you should do is put your best team in, the best possible team you can do, and you'll see where you need to improve. So in terms of the left-back, we haven't really got a good left-back either. So we're looking very weak on the left-back and the full-backs roles. So if we go to centre-mids, again, centre-mids, we've barely got anything. So Nathan Ferguson. Centre mids, we are extremely short. Okay. And so they're both centre mids. So yeah, we need 2 centre midfielders. Wingers, we've actually got, Jesus Christ. Okay, we've actually got a lot of good wingers who are all natural as well. So wingers are really, really good. On the right hand side, Nathan Green, but we are struggling with a left hand side winger. He is actually the fullback. So Green is the fullback. So you can see we're kind of struggling on the wing sides. Obviously on the left hand side, the fullbacks. So we're going to actually look for a left winger, and we're going to look for a left back and a right back in these team reports. So team reports, the most important thing. If you go to look for loans, most people will go to player search. You will do this, right? Loan status, listed for loan. And you see some pretty shit players, to be honest, from Mansfield, Burton, Dover. We don't want that. We want good players. So I hope you boys enjoy this, because it is really, really good. So what we're going to do, for me to explain this to you, so if you're starting in the National League South and the National League North, you can only do team reports up to League 2. To League 1, sorry. So yeah, you can only do team reports up to League 1. I've lost the screen now. Go back. Let's go up. So yeah, you can do team reports up to this. If you try and go up to the Championship, nothing will come through. So we are going to actually try League 1, because I haven't tried if it still works. I really hope it does. So yeah. So all you've got to do is right-click Accrington, go Team Report, Gavin Bird. We'll do a few now and see if we can get some through. So you just go to each scout. This is why I was saying, because we've only got 3 scouts, so it takes longer to do, because you've only got, if you had 10 scouts, you'd be getting 10 team reports at a time, but we've only got 3, so we're doing 3 team reports at a time. So this is all you do. You right-click, get team report, press the scout. Right-click, get team report, press the next scout. Right-click, get team report, press the 3rd scout. So we're going to leave it at that at the moment. We'll also do some in League 2 just in case League 1 isn't working. So let's do this. Let's do this. So you'll see how good this is. And all the team reports do is give you a complete team report on the whole team, which players are going to want to join you essentially. And you won't see these players in the scouting center when you just press the normal filter for loans. So let's do that. So if we continue now, and you'll see the kind of message we get. So let's continue again. You have to wait a few days for it to come through. So this is the message you will get right here. So you can see we just sent 3 players out to Accrington, Wimbledon and Barnsley. So as you can see, that's the team report. You won't get anything in the inbox, but you will get, let's accept that. You then, when you get these team reports, if you then go to the scouting center, and you will see this. So Paul, it could be a possible. So that means that guy is interested in joining you, and he's a 3.5-star centre back. So we've got another 3. Neset Bekele could be a possible loan target from AFC Wimbledon. As you can see, 3.5-star. So Bekele is actually valued at 10.25k. And was them guys actually on the scouting, on the player search? is not there, as you can see. So that is based on value. So it just shows you how important they are to do. Obviously, that wasn't many that came through from them 3. But let's go forward a little bit more and just see if we can get some more. Let's just accept these. So yeah, let's just see if we can get a few more come through. So you can see here Blackpool, Bradford and Bristol Rovers scouting report. Let's go into the searching. So we've got 8 players to look through now. Obviously not going to get amazing ones. Like this guy I wouldn't go for. He's only 2.5. But if we just acknowledge, again, you've got a 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. You've got a 3.5 there. Cameron Hargreaves is a defensive winger. But he, as you can see by his stats, he's probably good enough for... I mean, he's operating at the south level, but he's got his potential. I want to see if we can find a really good player for you. But let's just continue until we do. And you can kind of get the idea of how scout reports work. So we've got Burton, Charlton, and Doncaster scout reports have come through. So let's go to the search. I've got 14 now. Ignore these ones. So this is the one you want to see. It'll always say could be a possible loan target from Burton. So that guy's not great. That guy's not great. Got a 3-star. Is a good Vanarama South. Very good potential. Kind of looking for someone 4-star really. If we can find one, that's the thing. But there you go. So Taylor Maloney from Charlton is 4-star, and he looks absolutely fantastic for the lower league. Don't forget we're in the National South. To get a player like this, he's probably a League 2 player or at least a National League player. He's operating on Vanarama national level. So that is why team reports are massively important, and I do team reports as soon as I start the save, and I also do it again mid pre-season. And I also then do it again if I haven't got the right players just before the transfer window ends. Because new players will get... So we've got Luton, Fleetwood and Coventry up now. If we go to this, so Aaron Jarvis is only 3-star. Got a 3.5-star, Frankie Masonda, centre-back. Very good player. Looks like probably a National League player. Oh, he's at Vanarama South, but he's got the potential to be National League and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how important they are. And that is the end to the video. I hope you've enjoyed these tips. And let me know in the comments if you are planning on using them. Let me know if you knew about team reports. And again, even when you get to the Premier League, so it's quite important. So if you just get promoted to the Premier League, you can actually do team reports on Barcelona, Real Madrid, all the top teams, and you will get so many loans come through rather than them being on the player search, which is absolutely amazing. But if you have enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it. That would be amazing. And let me know if you didn't know any of these tips. It would be massively appreciated. And I will see you all next time. But for now, goodbye.